Okay, people. Gavin Newsom just got through delivering the state address or state of California address or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's state version of State of the Union. And came on instead of the morning news. Of course, I was curious if they were to broadcast it, and they did. And I'm like, okay, interesting that they're broadcasting it at 11 o'clock in the morning when everybody's at work. For the most part, at least, people with jobs are at work and stuff. So, what's the purpose of it? It's not for all the state of California. But you didn't want to do it in prime time. You didn't want to interrupt those ad revenue dollars in prime time like you do for Donald Trump to talk a whole lot of nonsense. Because I think the people in the state of California need to know what's going on in this state. But hey, it's not my call. It's my government. It's not my call. He touched upon some of the stuff that Trump touched upon. He actually even thanked Donald Trump once in his speech, which I thought was hysterical. But it's true. He should thank Donald Trump because Donald Trump actually is a catalyst to a lot of things. And that's what you need to understand about him. If you don't understand why he's in office to expose a lot of things. Now, if you are anybody who is of a higher consciousness and awareness, you understand that certain things are put in place for things to be seen. The yin and the yang, cause and effect. You have to know exactly what it is that you're up against if you're going to address it. If you don't know what you're up against in order to address it, it will never be addressed. And therefore, it will fester and it will turn into something that is an eyesore in your life. You can pick at it later if you want to, but all you can do is find that you have a festering pustule in your midst. Now, a lot of people are turned off by me because of some of the language I use. We should say it's somewhat colorful. Let me tell you something about colorful language, people. It's the language of the people. Those who you say are beneath you. Because, see, just because you have a higher education and you know how to read somebody using big words that pretty much call them a dumbass, don't mean they don't know you called them a dumbass. Now, as my father was waking me up and getting me ready, all he did was cuss. He talked about shit, and he talked about you as shit. I told him that was not godlike. Just like when he called me, he said, "Get up, bitch, I need you." I said, "That's not godlike." He said, "You let your friends call you a bitch." And he was right. Now, black people, because they were called outside of their name as Negroes, as far as what Negroes were supposed to be, because it's a polite way of saying black of a darker skin. They were called nigger. They hated the word because they knew what came behind it, because they were in chains and in bondage, and they were being beaten and incessantly called nigger, which actually denotes stupidity. Former kings and queens of Africa. Well, not everybody was a king and a queen because you can't all rule at the same time and you know it. Some have to be loyal servants. Now, tribal communities did rule as one. And they knew how to actually regulate each other within their own midst. But they always went to war with somebody who did not agree with them or wanted what they had. Am I making any sense now, people? Because I'm not stupid. I never was. My father told me straight up, it's easy for me to educate you than for me to educate them as a whole. So now, do you have a problem with the words that I use? Or the context in which they come across? Does it hurt your sensibilities because you're so sensitive? Let me tell you how sensitive you really are. You're not sensitive enough to stop making that money now, are you? As you call yourself connected with spirit and love and light. And let me tell you something about love and light. It's what you love and the light of your own understanding, which is still ignorant because you don't understand how it plays into another's hands. When you connect to the other side, you connect to entities that you're not supposed to, and God knows who they are. If you punch holes into the ethers, what you call the veil, and start inviting that shit in, and you start teaching it out on a general worldwide level, you have done some shit that is grievous in action. And you don't see it as such because you love how it makes you feel you are high on a drug. A spiritual high, which is a worse kind, because that feel-good thing is all you crave after that point. And as long as they bringing you people who believe and you are getting paid for your services, you won't stop doing it. Christ didn't do anything for a price. It was always free. But at the same time, you're making this world a better place. You're making this world colder. Oh, that's just my opinion. Yeah. Well, you know what they say about opinions. They're like assholes. Everybody has one. Some of them are non-functioning. That's why you have a colostomy bag. Understand me? When you bypass vital organs because you can't use your body like it's supposed to be used. Do you need another pithy analogy of something I'm talking to you about? Or do you really want to hear the truth? Because I asked for the truth. And it was not always love and light. Some of it was downright ugly. To see beyond what somebody is saying, you have to also witness what they are doing. It's not enough for you to just use the words. You have to understand what they are doing. Every time you contemplate your navel, the next thing I know, you out there writing a damn book and selling it. As if it is gospel and truth. It's truth according to you, but it has nothing to do with the divine. And if you knew who the divine was, you would know that. Why do you say you make war with darkness? Come on now. We're talking about a word here. What is the darkness? You define it as evil. Okay. Let's play this game. It is so written that those who are religious are not supposed to consort with witches. But yet, in this day and age, many of them do. In fact, some of them have become converts. Why exactly is that? Did they cast a spell on you? Or did it just something that felt good and you related to because it was like wielding power? Power that nobody else seemed to possess, but at the same time, you can teach it. I remember when I was first waking up how people like John Holland, John Edwards, Lisa Williams, and more, they said everybody's psychic, but not everybody's a medium. Mediums are born, but at the same time, everybody and their mama now teaches a class in mediumship. So now who was telling the truth at what point in time and when, and why the hell should I believe you now? Because you came to another level of understanding. Oh, are you just that gifted now you can teach the shit? Oh, people, please. You really need to come up with another argument and another defense system. And I'm glad that you call yourself saying, well, I don't consort with that kind of energy. His energy is so basic and so beneath me. I like that. The higher you fly, the farther you have to fall to recover. If you should ever recover. Because see, a lot of y'all have to ground yourself because y'all so high up in the ethers. I don't do that shit. I don't have to. If I soar, I soar. If I'm on the ground, I'm on the ground. I know what the hell I am. I know who I am. I know what I believe. I know what I subscribe to. I know what I listen to when I listen to you. I know if you're making sense and I know if you're not. I know if you're telling a half-truth or a full truth. I know a lot of things. Why? Because I study the total package. Your kindness is overrated. Your love is severely overrated. And what you believe, well, that's just you. Because see, that's always a product of one's own mind and their own free will. Just like when you say you got rid of your ego, I'd like to know how you did that. And you call yourself a thinking individual because your ego does control the workings of the thought process. The soul don't do anything. The soul is just what you are encased in. Your ego is the one that remembers some shit. That's all. I mean, the memories are still there, but if the ego can't access them, then you're not really firing on all soldiers, are you? Oh no, I'm in another place. Yes, you are. But where do you think that other place is? Still contained within you. Oh, I've seen little what do you call it? Diagrams and schematics and stuff where people said this is the soul and this is the ego and this is this. And they all contain in one place, trying to make a connection with somebody else. But you know everything that there is contained within you. Everything that's contained within you is what you know, hopefully. But at the same time, just like you dismiss processes of thought, you dismiss a part of yourself that you say, I can't deal with that. Of course not. You're in denial. You didn't get rid of anything that basically makes you more loving. You're either loving or you're not. Just like you're either a dick or you're not. You might find another way to sugarcoat it, but it is what it is. I mean, how you conduct yourself in the world, how you interact with people, how you treat people, that's what makes you loving. It doesn't mean that it's beyond the scope of grasping. It just means that you have to make a conscious choice to say, okay, in this I must make a compromise because this person is in need of something that I have that I can actually offer them. And it's nearly not going to cost me anything because I only have one mouth and one stomach, last I checked, because I'm not a cow. And therefore, I only need my portion. I don't need everybody else's too to make myself feel better about myself. When you throw out more than you eat, what does that say? You have more than you need? No. It just means that you had something to share that you chose not to. And if you offer to somebody and they say, no, thank you, okay. Now, does that mean, okay, if you have an extra dollar, you shouldn't give it to somebody? No. If that's what you want to do. But there are people that I know for a fact that said they were hungry. And I was like, well, I have this sandwich. Would you like? No. I need some money. They sitting outside the liquor store. I know what you need. You want a drink. That's fine. But I'm not going to pay for that. If I sit outside the liquor store, ain't nobody going to buy me a drink. Now, in the bar, somebody might buy me a drink, but then they expect something too in return. I'm not stupid. Sometimes you buy a drink just to buy a drink. I've done that before too. We've all done that. That's not a problem. Let me buy that person a drink. Sometimes that's an invitation to come over and talk, but not necessarily. Sometimes it's like, no, I just want to buy, I just want to buy around for the house. That's all you're doing. You ain't expecting nothing. Of course, people are going to acknowledge it. It feels good in the moment, but hey, that's just a momentary thing. So what are you talking about? Work you must do should not feel like work. It's just basically you being a good person or a nice person. But you don't sit there and laud it like you did something. Now that I'm doing all this spiritual work because I'm getting paid for it, that don't mean anything to me. Because I see people who could call all the time because I'm doing spiritual work. The people doing spiritual work are the ones out there. They ain't on camera all the time. And when they get on camera, they really don't want to be seen. Because they're too busy trying to do stuff. I mean, they'll shed light on it. They'll find the voice within them to speak, only because they know it's a problem. Gavin Newsom summed up his speech applauding somebody that was not him. He talked about this nurse from RN who was fleeing the flames during that campfire coming out of paradise. And he said the man took out his phone because he thought it was over with because the flames were all around. And he said that the man turned on his phone to record for his family his final goodbye because he thought it was it. And lo and behold, out of nowhere, this bulldog came through And the bulldozer cleared out all these cars that were on fire that was blocking the way. Now, he said the man could have fled at that point in time, but he worked at the local hospital. So instead of fleeing, he turned around and he went back to the hospital because that's where his patients were. And he started attending to them until the hospital caught on fire. So what did he do? He worked with everybody else as quickly as he could to get those patients out to the helipad. Everybody was rescued. And when asked, why did he do that? He said, that's what we do. So now, if you're going to call yourself pulling together to do something for somebody, then tell a story like that. Now, you might sit there and say, well, you ain't doing it. No, I'm not. I can tell you why, but it wouldn't matter, because you'll just say it's an excuse. So if you can see an excuse coming from me, then pray tell, first and foremost, you better identify all your excuses too. Because see, right now, everybody's delivering a message. Everybody's writing a book, and everybody is saying something. But you have to look at what they're saying, and why they're saying it. And if they don't take offense about the fact that you point something out, it don't mean that they did not hear what you had to say. They just said, I don't roll like that, and I know you know better. The first thing a person will do when you single them out and shine the spotlight on them, and they start doing that self-evaluation, if they didn't like what you had to say, is they gonna sit there and get mad. They're gonna cop an attitude with you, and they're gonna leave. And then when they get some time to calm down and think about it, and it might take them a while, then they're gonna come back and say, yeah, you're right. It's not a question of me being right. It's a question about you doing what you said. You're either going to improve upon yourself or you're not. But you're not going to lay false claim that you are ascendant in a way that you're not. You're as basic as anybody else out there. If you can look at the churches and see how they scam the people out of money over their own so-called soul, and they were using fire and brimstone to do it, at the same time also sprinkle in generous, copious amounts of love, divine love, God's love. But at the same time, they still resort in type to a basic instinct of condemnation and more. They have not ascended to a loftier height. They have regressed. And just because you say, I divorce myself for that, and I'm over here now, and I'm not doing all that stuff, I'm just speaking about love and light. No, you're not, because you're turning a blind eye and a deaf ear. You have orchestrated yourself into another camp of attack. And as long as you're getting paid, you don't care. That's the worst kind of devil there is. One who accepts such apathy. You know what apathy is, right? Do you need me to break out the dictionary? When you don't care, it's called apathy. When you say they just ain't listening to me, no, it's not that they ain't listening to you. They just know you're talking the same game that somebody else is playing too. I can connect you with your loved ones. First off, I'm going to tell you what I told somebody else who was on my friends list one time. She said, I have a message to you, for you from your grandmother. And then she broke it down, what the message was, saying my grandmother would throw me out of the very window I was looking out of if I did not straighten up. Now, I thank the world for her time, for the message, and I told her, I said, now, I don't know who you were talking to, but you were not talking to my grandmother, because I know my grandmother. Me and my grandmother were tight. My grandmother never once threatened me. Now, whatever you were talking to, no, I do look out the window. But it couldn't mimic my grandmother, because my grandmother never once threatened me. My grandmother was a God-fearing woman, just like I am a God-fearing man. And my grandmother would applaud everything I'm saying. She might not like how it's coming across, but she would not question the will of God as he works in my life. So, the demon is smart, but he's not that smart. None of you wise enough, and you know where your strength comes from. If I don't understand something, I say a prayer. Help me, Father, to understand what I am failing to see, to hear what I am failing to hear, and to know what I need to know in this moment. Now, with so many people on the spiritual train, and they spreading so much love and light in there, sitting there commanding angels to go here, there, and everywhere, let me ask you one question. Why is so much craziness jumping off in this world? And if they have all these spiritual gifts, why are they not casting out the demons? Or are they just content that the demons are going somewhere nowhere near them for right now? Many a war has been fought where your so-called ally turned on you later. Why do you think the United States has such a bad rap overseas with their former partners in crime? Bin Laden. You give away too many of your secrets, and then they can play you. They have free will too. This is war, people. Spiritual war. I know people that know that. They told me straight up to my face. Spiritual warfare is real. They also said they were my friend. They ain't nowhere around me now. Which actually is probably a good thing, considering the element that they had around them that I needed to be divorced from as well. That's why I don't cry tears over the fact that you're gone when you couldn't stick it out. People who can stick it out are people who are prone to want to really learn the truth and know that it's not a question of doing war against the dark, when the dark that you're doing war against is what resides in you. It's not in spirit, it's in your spirit. So you did all that work in light to separate yourself out, and at the same time you're still at war with yourself, because you have to bring that element in somewhere if you ain't going to address it. If you're not going to address it within, you have to address it without. Suppress much? Let's question people. In and of yourself, what do you not like seeing, and why can you not get that under control to the point that you have to sit there and say, I've done away with it? I know what's in me, of light and dark. And when I interact with people, I only want to show them love, kindness, and compassion, but at the same time, they will actually try and take advantage of that too. And I'm like, hell, the fuck, no. You know, when I was asleep, I'll be honest with you, I probably took on more than I should, but now I have to. I'm fully integrated. You say you have all that shit all that shit under control in yourself. What we gonna see? I'm watching the world now. I don't see it under control. I see that running amok. I see it under control with certain people, more so than others. But hey, you know, that's just my perspective, don't you think? And my perspective is just like my opinion. It's my own asshole, but I'm now sharing. And I know I can dish out some shit. You just might not like it. I would rather not. I would rather not. I would rather be nice and shed nice words, or share nice words. I'd actually like to share hope. But I can't share what I don't see. I can hope it. I can pray for it. I can wish for it. But the thing is, you have to understand something too. My Father is not a vending machine. My Father is God. I've said many a prayer. And as He's rolling them out, I'm not going to go back and sit there and say, well, I don't want this now. Because I'm going to tell you right now, he told me straight up. He said, I'm giving you everything you asked for. And there were certain things I said, well, I don't want this. He said, I know this is not what you asked for, but this is necessary for what you did ask for. And I said, why do you keep trying to force this other thing on me when I don't want that? That was never really me. He said, yep. And you always have the option never to go down that path. Because see, I was connected with everybody. But, the body of Christ, the blood of Christ, it was ritual. To give you what you wanted as I was partying, or being so party, because you wanted to go it alone. You ready to ascend. You can't ascend with me. You have to ascend on your own. They didn't tell you that? Moses was not a part of the body of Christ when he ascended. Moses was his own man. Abraham was his own man. Esther was her own woman. Come on, people. They were individualized expressions of God that had to ascend on their own. They could not be connected to an earthly vessel, which Christ was a part of an earthly body. What? You never read the book? I thought y'all was studied to show yourself approved. Good thing I'm drinking my coffee that has nothing in it but, coffee, hot water, a little bit of sugar and some cream. Sometimes when I get to talking, my tongue gets tied because I have so much to come out. I guess that's why I'm going to be speaking for a long time. I don't know. I keep telling I don't know how long I'm going to be speaking. That's up to him. And how long you want to call yourself being willing to listen, much less learn. And it's sad because there is that sorrow that I keep seeing in the back. It's in the back of my mind and stuff. Like my eyes want to well up, but it's not really me. And I know it's not him. But I know that he also puts me in touch with what he's seeing as certain things are being expressed, not just in the world, because sometimes I'm not even recording or anything. I'll just be looking at TV and all of a sudden I'll get a wave of something and I'll ask him what's going on. And he said, you'll see. And then there'll be like breaking news or something like that. Because he's always on. We're the only ones who call ourselves shutting down and not paying attention to everything that's going on. He pays attention to it all because it's within him. He knows. This is creation. Us. Merrily, 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 living our own dream, which is a nightmare for some other people, depending on who you are. Okay. So I'm getting ready to get off this device. I still haven't washed my face because I was sitting here listening to Gavin Newsom. That's interesting. We got our first lieutenant female governor. I think that's so cool. Yeah, just like in Congress, the state of California has more women in the governing body than they've ever had before. That actually is a good thing. As long as they bring in new blood and, ideas and stuff, because women can do whatever a man can do, but please don't duplicate the mistakes of men. Don't do that. Because I'll tell you right now, in the New Age movement, women are always saying, where the man at? Okay, now you already talked about how the church, which is run predominantly by men, is so screwed up. Now you running this New Age spiritual movement, but right now you ain't doing nothing but you're pretty much duplicating the bullshit that men do. In terms that they deliver messages that they get from spirit, as they now process them for themselves, and at the same time they want to get paid. You doing the same thing. Oh yeah, I get that, Father. Yeah. He said there's a winter weather advisory underway in a new state of mind. Because right now, ladies, who are running all this mediumship and psychic work and more? You ain't starting off any better than the men with all your love and light. And yeah, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking by it. Just like you stick by yours. And see how far you get. Have a nice day.